once we approve frame, folks, we're clear. Once again, check your cell phones. Thank you. Frame looks beautiful.
You look great. Everybody needs to clear. Every single person needs to.
Okay, how are you feeling?
I actually had anxiety around this interview.
Why is that?
Because the last time I did an interview this long, I was on cocaine. It was called Staying Strong. I am Demi Lovato. I'm 25. The last decade has taught me a lifetime of lessons. I've learned that secrets make you sick. I'm learning how to be a voice and not a victim. I've learned that sex is natural. I've learned that love is necessary. Heartbreak is unavoidable. And loneliness is brutal. This is my story. This is simply complicated.
I want you to hear the first 3 lines you just did. They were great.
Okay.
I see the future without you. The hell was I doing in the past? Now that I've learned all about you, a life just like ours wouldn't last.
I think the first line, the you on it, isn't good.
Okay. Did you like line number 3? Did you like this one?
Now that I've learned all about you. Yeah, the you is great.
Yeah.
And the now, I think I could do a better learn.
I won't fall for your games, so don't hate me when I say.
Okay, there's words that I like, but overall I don't like the whole take.
Ah, okay. Those first 2 lines made me feel something great, so wherever you're doing...
I'll just keep doing it.
Thank you. Don't do it for me anymore. No, you.
I really like this take.
It's just that last ooh needs to be smoothed out.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, absolutely.
Well, this should be a perfect world. It's my album.
Let's go again.
I won't fall for your game.
Oops.
Well, this is
Stop feeling bad for yourself. I won't fall for your games, so don't hate me when I say.
I like that me when I say.
Yeah, I did too. It's only the 3rd take. I don't know what to do.
Thank you. Don't do it for me anymore. I'm sorry for honesty. I'm well aware I lie to you when I lie with you. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for me anymore.
That last line was great.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 sec.
I mean, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm Growing up, I had been bullied in school, and I felt like an outsider. I felt like an outcast. At that time, I became friends with a girl who was popular. And one day, I asked her, "How do you have all these friends?" And she was like, "Well, do you party?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she asked me, "Do you drink?" We experienced a lot of stuff together, drinking and using and growing up.
We started drinking fairly early. To me, it was like, we're just having fun. We're kids. Everyone's doing it, so we're going to too. Little did we know that there was gonna be like this downward spiral.
My first time doing coke, I was 17, working on Disney Channel, and I was with a couple friends, and they introduced me to it. I was scared because my mom always told me that your heart could just burst if you do it. But I did it anyways, and I loved it. I felt out of control with the coke the first time that I did it. My dad was an addict and an alcoholic, and I guess I always searched for what he found in drugs and alcohol because it fulfilled him and he chose that over a family.
Early on, Demi was very, very sad because of her issues with her dad.
We had been through a lot of the same things, kind of at the same time. Our parents were both divorced at a young age. She dealt a lot with her dad, and the times where Fee was brought up wasn't ever good. Like, Fee would tell them he had cancer when he didn't, or he would tell them he's dying tomorrow when he wasn't.
Growing up, I was always really protective of Demi. I remember my dad was such a loving person, but when he started drinking, he was very different.
Scary things began to happen.
He would rage and yell and throw things, and Demi saw that.
At the time, I didn't understand it. I didn't know how to handle things. But I knew that he had a good heart. I never would have married him in the first place if he didn't. But sometimes if you don't get help for what you're struggling with, a good heart sometimes isn't enough. It just became too much and I had to leave.
From a young age, Demi, my mom, and I had this incredible bond. We called ourselves the 3Ds. It felt kind of like it was us against the world.
And he's a real nice dad. He's not like my other dad. Oh, I don't want to know about. Some of you do it, you won't, but...
Eddie's my dad. When I say my dad and I mean my birth father, I mention that it's my birth father.
Even though the dynamic in our family was always very loving and very open, on the other hand, we were also very closed off and secretive as well. We all had our own things hidden behind our own closed doors. There were some things that nobody knew.
I was depressed at a very, very young age, fascinated with death, wondering what it would be like to have a funeral. I never knew why I would think so darkly. And it took me a long time to figure out what was actually going on.
Look at how serious I am in this picture. I've got the head tilt and the smize.
We started modeling a little bit when I was like 5. And by modeling, we didn't have an agent. We just took pictures. We didn't do anything like any actual jobs. Then we started doing beauty pageants, and that's what got me into singing.
Can I be on Jackass? My name is Demi. Hi.
You'll need to back up.
I'm gonna be on Jackass.
We started off doing pageants, and I started to realize that Demi, I guess, was
Gifted.
talented, not human when it came to her voice.
She was 5 years old. She had the nerve to go up in front of the entire school to sing Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On. And it was beautiful. That was the first time I thought, okay, this is probably what she's gonna wanna do the rest of her life.
We tried really hard to get an agent. We couldn't get an agent.
It was auditions like all the time.
I just remember a lot of auditions and a lot of car rides. I have so many memories of Demi getting a phone call and then not getting the job. We would be really upset for a few days, and then one day...
Is the band here? Not yet.
She got Barney. After I booked Barney, I was constantly working on music and acting. I was taking lessons any chance that I could.
Demi, good luck. I love you. Have fun.
We had been working really hard at it since the pageant days and all of the headshots and lessons.
When Demi walked in the room, I knew she was a flat-out entertainer. She was standing by my piano, and she said, "Can I sing for you?" And I said, "You bet you can." She started this song. I just said, oh my gosh, where did she get this voice?
When I was very young, I wanted to be like Shirley Temple, somebody that could sing and act at such a young age. I started playing guitar around 8 or 9 years old. I was always playing music. She would be up all hours of the night, singing my heart out, writing
Some real tough.
Looking back, I think I realized that I had this outlet to pour my emotions out and create something beautiful. After I had finished Barney and Friends, what I ended up finding out is that there was actually a lot of pressure to find jobs. And the pressure didn't come from anybody but myself. I just wanted to succeed.
We started coming out to California for pilot season.
I got guest starring roles on TV shows, commercials, things like that.
My stuff. I never heard of them.
And then I ended up booking a TV show for Disney Channel called As the Bell Rings.
Okay, I think we have something. Let's put this together.
And after As the Bell Rings, I booked Camp Rock. I was 15.
Rock on.
When I met Phil, he was managing the Jonas Brothers.
We met Demi, I think originally it was an audition of our TV show. We had a TV show called Jonas. She didn't get it, but I think a year later, I think we met in rehearsals probably for Camp Rock. Demi was attached to the film already.
And I remember you went in because you had to sing the duet with Demi's character. You had already laid down your part. So I went in with Joe, and I heard her voice, and I just had like goosebumps all over my arms. I was like, I stepped out of the studio and I called Disney. I was like, who is this girl?
I saw what he did for the Jonas Brothers, and the fact that he wanted to manage me was a huge deal to me because he was with them through it all.
Starring in Camp Rock was Demi's big break. It was just a massive franchise that Disney had put everything behind, and it just became a pop culture sort of sensation.
To be able to get to do something as big as this for my first project, it feels great.
We really believed that Camp Rock was the vehicle to become a superstar. And it was like overnight, she became a household name. I think Demi was cast in so many different Disney projects because there was a natural edge to her that made her authentic and believable as an actress or as an artist. I think they needed her to make their projects cooler.
I Everything happened so fast.
We officially signed, and the next day I booked her a plane ticket to go on tour with the Jonas Brothers.
All of a sudden, I was on tour writing songs for my album with the Jonas Brothers, and then I was on a tour of my own. Looking back, I think that it was a lot for anyone, let alone a kid.
I think that Demi being on the Disney Channel, now looking back at it, I can connect the dots and say that there was an immense amount of pressure.
I was now working on my music and my TV show and movies all at the same time.
That lifestyle is really crazy. Not a lot of people understand like the pressures and the time and the amount of work that it actually takes to have such a successful career in the entertainment industry.
So many more expectations put on her than a normal 15, 16-year-old girl would have.
She was living two lives. Here she was, she had to be squeaky clean on the Disney Channel, all types of moral clauses and just intensity around behavior. And once the camera stops rolling, she's living another life. She couldn't really be herself. She couldn't be a normal teenager.
I definitely felt the pressure increase when the fame started to creep into my life. I started feeling pressure to look a certain way, to sing music that I felt people would like, rather than sing music that I would like. There was more pressure to succeed, numbers on charts, and I was a perfectionist, and I really wanted to be the best of the best.
When you are carrying a franchise, there is a standard that everybody expects you to operate at.
They were great to work with.
And I think that it caused a lot of anxiety for her.
And it didn't let up at all. It just mounted more and more.
All of a sudden, she had to be this role model, and I don't think she was ready for that.
I think we started to notice, and really it was the Jonas Brothers kind of like waving a flag that Demi may be veering off the path.
At that point, you could just feel that things were getting wobbly. It was almost like the wheels were starting to fall off. Prior to that, I think anything that was going on would have been chalked up to, she's a teenage girl. That was like the easy answer, was just to say, well, she's a teenage girl and she's going through stuff and she's being dramatic.
She wasn't this sweet and lovely girl anymore, and it was kind of like a, hey, you, and I just want to be a kid and do what everybody else does. And like my friends in Texas want to like drink and party, so why shouldn't I drink and party?
Demi had real anger issues.
Difficult, harder to be around.
No, just show me. I have a photographic memory.
Demi was pulling anyone that she could like manipulate and change.
She was depressed. She would sleep all the time.
I think it became obvious that she was struggling with herself.
And I didn't realize that it was actually signaling a larger issue.
While we were on tour, Joe and Demi's relationship had become really complicated. So I was playing the bridge, and it became really good, between she and I for a while, and growing closer than we'd ever been. And I remember thinking in my head, I felt like a bit of pride about it. Like, selfishly, maybe I was like, I'm helping her back into, coming back to being the Demi that we all know and love. And she's not going to do anything crazy. It's going to be fine. And then this episode happened.
I was in Colombia. I was on the Camp Rock 2 tour. And I invited a bunch of people to dinner, my band and my background dancers. I paid for all the alcohol. Somebody ended up getting weed. I was on Adderall, and we had trashed the hotel. The hotel was like threatening us. They went to some of the dancers and asked what had happened. And I think they told on me for using Adderall. Somebody told Kevin Jonas Sr. and Phil and my dad. I was very upset. I couldn't believe that it happened. Now it was out that I was on Adderall. The next day, I was in a lot of trouble. I remember going to Kevin Sr. and saying, listen, I want to thank whoever told on me because I know they were just worried about me. And, you know, I just really want to know who told you. And I manipulated him into telling me who it was. And he said it was Shorty. Shorty and I had been really close through Camp Rock and Camp Rock 2. So when he said Shorty, I remember thinking, I'm about to beat this bitch up.
I remember I was up in the front of the plane.
She had already boarded the plane.
Demi walks up onto the plane and I heard some commotion.
I just went up to her and it was like a blur.
And I turned around and Demi had punched her backup dancer in the face.
Everyone was freaking out.
She walked right past me without acknowledging me.
I just remember going and sitting down.
Just this angry look on her face.
Texting my mom, I'm sorry.
Put her head on her pillow and shut out the world.
And I slept the whole day.
That was when it dawned on me that this was probably a much bigger situation than just a kid who wanted to party.
I just came to a breaking point.
The next 12 months were extremely difficult.
I was 18 when I first went into treatment.
Demi was diagnosed bipolar when she checked into treatment the first time.
When I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, it just made sense. When I was younger, I didn't know why I would stay up so late writing and playing music. And then I learned about episodes of mania. And I realized that that's probably what it was. I was manic. In a way, I knew that it wasn't my fault anymore. Something was actually off with me.
She had such a glow to her the first time I saw her when she came out of treatment. The glow started to fade each day that passed.
I wasn't working my program. I wasn't ready to get sober. I was sneaking it on planes, sneaking it in bathrooms, sneaking it throughout the night. Nobody knew.
This is an 18-year-old who's totally outmaneuvering adults.
I went on like a bender of like 2 months where I was using daily, and there was one night where I used a bunch of Coke and I popped a few Xanax bars and I started to choke a little bit and my heart started racing. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I might be overdosing right now.
I remember we were in New York and she clearly was on something. And she was on air promoting this new way of life. And I was like, you're so full of it. I wasn't equipped to be able to handle that situation. And so I got a list of several recommendations of people that specialize in this. And I ended up connecting and speaking with Mike Baer.
Demi was on a road to like suicide. She'd have like bags of pills and an 8-ball of Coke.
I was either craving drugs or on drugs.
She is nasty.
I was not easy to work with. I was using while I had a sober companion. And I went through about 20 different sober companions.
It was really like she was two different people. Every day was like going to war.
We were in Palm Springs and she locked her bedroom door. She's just taken a bunch of pills. We kicked down the door. She gets taken to the hospital. The nurse is checking her in. The bottle of pills is there. She grabs the pills. She then downs all the other pills and says, you bitch. If I just tried to kill myself, why would you give me access to pills?
I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel embarrassed.
Then she goes from there to a psych ward. None of that did anything. She still isn't wanting to get clean. She's so black and white. She really one day would want to get well, the next day not want to get well. And when she didn't want to get well, she'd have to flip back to, it was just, for her, it was chaotic.
It was completely exhausting, physically and emotionally.
I would sneak out, get drugs.
Manipulating.
I would fake my drug tests with other people's pee.
She didn't care what the consequences were.
A couple days sober, and then she'd use.
And I'd lie straight to their faces.
She didn't care about her career.
And we couldn't get momentum on our side.
It was very difficult to work off that very small part of her that did want to get well.
It's embarrassing to look back at the person that I was. The very last night that I drank, I was at a hotel and I invited 2 random people and basically just drank with them. I got really, really drunk until it was time to get on a flight. And I was so drunk that I threw up in the back of the car service on the way to the airport to perform on American Idol.
Ladies and gentlemen, Demi Lovato.
When your lips are on my lips, then our hearts beat as one.
Here she is. She goes to American Idol. She's hungover. She has total disregard for it. It was a horrible feeling.
I felt like that was a moment in my career where I didn't care.
Demi was clearly in a bad place.
I just knew that I needed to be high to get through what I was going through at that point.
I remember asking Mike, when is it time to step away? And Mike said to me, when she stops trying. At that moment, I was fully intending to drop her.
You hear about interventions or families laying ultimatums and saying, like, you either change or you're out.
Change has to happen now.
The most important thing to Demi, it's losing people. It's losing people that she cares about and that loves her. That's the most important thing to Demi.
I had developed a plan where I got everybody on the team, business manager, attorneys, agents, everybody, to say, if Phil walks, we walk. This was the showdown of all showdowns.
It wasn't a matter of if they were going to leave. It was, we are leaving. There's no more that we can do for you.
I remember her crying, going, what the fuck do I need to do? What do I need to do?
And Mike said,
give us your cell phone.
And I think he said, like now. And she picked up the plate.
She literally is grabbing this thing, smashing it, screaming, crying, like in the ugly cry.
And I said, that's not good enough.
Phil said, put it in the water.
And so she dunked it in the vase of water that was on the table. It's wild. This was the gateway to everything. This was the wrong people. It was drug dealers. It was a lot of the negative influences in her life were coming through the cell phone.
I think that approach worked for me because it sounds silly, but it was the beginning of the process of surrendering. At the end of the day, it was my decision.
Meanwhile, she's a judge on X Factor. She's 19 years old, and she's in her first year of sobriety.
What nobody knows is that while she was a judge, she's living in a sober apartment with roommates. She is having to do chores. She has no cell phone. She is completely and totally submitted to the process of recovery.
You really have to lean into the people that are trying to support you, like my family, like Mike and Phil. You know, you really have to surrender because that's when the change is going to happen. When you're in the studio and you're recording a hit song, there are times where the energy in the room is just insane.
Go!
When that beat kicks in,
yeah,
it's just like no matter what you're doing, you have to dance.
Right.
When can I sing?
I'm ready to go.
Here it comes.
Yeah, you are.
Let's do it.
You know who else is ready to go?
Let's do it.
Me.
You set her up for me, brother?
Yeah. You standing or sitting, Demi?
I think I'm gonna sit first.
All right.
All right. Mic check.
Mic check.
You ready?
Yeah.
Really using my emotions and basically just adding more soul into it. I think it comes out in my music today.
Woo! That was crazy. That was a good one. 2 seconds.
Oak is just incredible.
This song is f***ing awesome, man.
It's so good.
We're like, what, 6 for 6 now? Oh my God.
So excited.
I love that.
We have been putting in endless hours in the studio, and all of the songs that we've done together I've really been excited about.
Let's try it. She's just gonna nail it every time. I know. I mean, they're all varying degrees of perfection, my ninja. So,
Thanks.
but I like the ending of this one more. Yeah. I like the beginning of the one you did previous to this one more.
Okay, cool.
So I have a comp in mind too, if we need to. I mean, but we got it. We definitely got it. It sounds awesome, homie.
As long as the vibrato is consistent on that.
I can see your vibrato waves. You have no idea how uniform they are. Like,
Oh,
look at
don't.
this. You see it? It looks like a caterpillar. Look at that.
It is a caterpillar.
Look at how f***ing consistent these waves are, right? And you can actually hear it listening. Oh, you can hear that vibrato.
I think it's important to have a vision, and I feel like he's really helped me find my sound.
Thank you. You killed that shit, homie.
Thanks.
Good Lord.
Texas!
I'm so tired. You just slept for 3 hours. So unamused with that comment. Demi, did you know that you sleep with one eye open? No, I don't. Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. No, yes, I don't. You do. Yeah, you do. I swear to God.
Wow, that's so weird.
Who did you piss off that you gotta sleep with one eye open?
It's the first time in a while that we've all been in Texas together. I think since like the last Christmas that we spent here.
Yeah.
Or no, a funeral.
Which funeral was that?
It was my mama. My mama, I used to call her my world because she was just the sweetest woman, and she was funny and sassy.
I love you. I love you. I love you more. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
What are the odds that we're all back here at this day?
Almost exactly a year later. I miss her so much. Mama. Sorry.
then it's also been a year since Wilmer and I broke up.
I've never loved anybody like I loved Wilmer. And like I still love Wilmer. When I first met Wilmer, he was 29. I met him on January 11th of 2010. And it was at a PSA shoot at his house for the 2010 census forms.
Before 1980, Latinos weren't even considered a separate ethnic group on the census form. This is an opportunity for us to assert ourselves, to define ourselves.
To be honest, I only did it because I heard it was at his house and I thought he was really cute. I didn't really care about the census forms. But when I met him and I laid eyes on him for the first time, I was in hair and makeup and he came and sat down and I was like, I love this man and I have to have him. But I was only 17. And so he was like, get away from me. After I had turned 18, we began dating. I think it was love at first sight. And I don't really believe in that, but I believe that it happened. We connected on a level that I've never connected with anybody before. He was just my rock, my everything.
Why do you think you broke up?
It had nothing to do with falling out of love. We decided together that we're just probably better as friends. I haven't seen Wilmer in over 6 months. And when he showed up at the gay pride party at Mike's, my heart ached. It's hard enough dealing with a breakup, but you put it in the public eye and it feels violating. I do have moments where it's late at night and I'm lonely and I wonder if I made the right decision, because love is a gamble. I don't know if I'll lose him for the rest of my life.
Is it this one? My arm looks so big.
You're flexing.
Hey!
You're so stupid.
I get it. I get it, that's what I'm saying.
I think my heart's always with Wilmer. I think it was with Wilmer. I think that it is with Wilmer, and I think that it will be. Because you don't share 6 years with somebody and not give them a piece of your heart, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to meet anybody that compares to him, but I'm trying to keep an open heart and an open mind when it comes to that.
I love Demi and Wilmer together, but I've seen Demi grow a lot as a person in the last year.
The spark's never faded. But there are issues that I haven't conquered yet, that I know I won't conquer if I'm relying on somebody else to take care of the loneliness.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
No, where there's a Wilmer, there's a way.
I just wasn't ready, and there was so much of my life that I hadn't explored yet. I wanted a house now because I'm on my own and I'm independent now.
This is the first time Demi's ever really been on her own in her life. It also falls at a time, as she's turning 25, where she's trying to figure out who she is. And so I think that she's taking the time to put that into her art in probably the most meaningful way she's ever done.
I'm growing up by myself, and to have my own place designed the way that I want it to look with my dogs. Batman, Ella. I wanted to know what it's like to be on my own. And this is where I finally feel like I can be grown up. I haven't relapsed in drugs and alcohol. That's something that I'm very proud of. I'm coming up on 5.5 years of sobriety. And that's something that's been difficult at times. But one thing that I haven't fully conquered is my eating disorder.
You're having trouble right now? What's going on?
It's so weird to talk about this on camera. I relapsed with throwing up, binging, purging.
When?
A couple nights ago. The less I have to think about food, the easier it is for me to go about having a normal life. And I don't want to let anybody down. So when I do have moments where I slip up, I feel very ashamed.
What started the relapse was missing Wilmer.
This is the longest you've gone without being in a relationship. You're not the only one to have been through a 6-year relationship and break up and question it and then not know how to be alone.
Well, like, that's one of the reasons why we broke up, is because I've never been alone.
When I was in a relationship with Wilmer, I went 3 years without purging. And when we broke up, that's one of the first things I did.
And when I feel lonely, like my heart feels hungry.
Right.
And then I end up binging. And I don't know how to figure out how to be alone.
What do you think came first for you in terms of chasing the high? Was it the drugs and alcohol, or was it the food?
The food came first. When I was about 8 years old and my little sister was born, a lot of the attention was taken off of me and onto my little sister. I had started working at that time, so I was under a lot of stress. So I would bake cookies for my family, and I would eat all of them, and nobody would have any to eat. That was my first memory of food being that medicine for me.
When I was 12, I was bullied. I developed a social anxiety where I didn't trust other girls my age. Then one day, this girl who was popular started saying Demi should kill herself. She should slit her wrists. And it resulted in a suicide petition that got passed around. And she had other classmates sign it.
I mean, there was this core group of girls who were, honestly, in my eyes, pure evil.
And when I asked them why, nobody could give me a specific reason why they were treating me the way they were. I had no friends. I was alone. So I went off of what they were calling me, which was a whore and being fat. I called my mom on my cell phone and I said, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, pick me up. She picked me up from school, and that's when my eating disorder developed.
One day, I found a copy of her diary. Demi had drawn a picture of what she perceived herself to look like. Heavy. And then she drew a picture on the next page and said, this is what I need to look like to be a star.
This was like a collage that I made when I was younger. And it's actually kind of sad for me because a lot of the people in here are underweight, and I wanted to be I wanted to be like them. That was kind of the chic look back then. Yeah, I've got Amy Winehouse in there that I looked up to and I wanted to be so badly. I wanted to be as thin as her. I wanted to sing like her. I wanted to be just like her.
The collages on her wall and the pictures and the models. This isn't what you need to aspire to be like. This is not healthy. I never thought to say those things to her because I didn't know myself. My desire for perfection, I think I've always been that way. I felt I had to be thin to be beautiful and successful, and that this is what you need to look like in order to be perfect. I may have passed that along to my kids, that wanting everything to be perfect and need to be thin and beautiful to be successful.
Food is still the biggest challenge in my life, and it controls. I don't want to give it the power to say that it controls my every thought, but it's something that I'm constantly thinking about. Body image, what I'm gonna eat next, what I wish I could be eating, what I wish I didn't eat. You know, it's just constant. It's exhausting. Like, I get envious towards people that don't struggle with an eating disorder, just because I feel like my life would be so much easier.
Everybody has their own path in recovery. For me, it's about going to therapy, working my program, and having an honest relationship with myself and the other people around me.
I had come across Jay Glazer in Unbreakable Jim, and I felt like it would be great for her. Because Demi had just broken up with Wilmer, and she didn't have a lot of friendships. She didn't have a community.
The workout before that was super tough.
Yeah.
You hear a girl crying, it's me.
The gym really helps. And I know that I would be in a very dark place without it.
When you're getting one, you're coming right back. Come on. Nice. Where's your kick? There it is.
You know, it's Monday when you get punched in the face by Randy Couture. Randy Couture. Only like MMA legend.
At the time, she loved kickboxing, and I was really hoping that she would fall in love with jiu-jitsu.
Insist.
It would give her some pride in having her own thing.
It's empowering, and I watch her light up.
It's a physical chess game. It makes her think.
Anytime I'm able to take my mind off of any of my addictions, it's very beneficial to me, because you're constantly thinking about what the next move is, the technique, the strategy.
And also there's a reward system that takes many, many, many years to get through.
Excellent. Back up. In jiu-jitsu, we start with a white belt. Every time you get a promotion, it's a stripe. We do 4 stripes on each belt, and then we move to the next belt.
One goal that I haven't reached is a black belt. Being able to work towards that is something that I'm passionate about.
I hope to God to see her into her 30s and to put a black belt around her waist one day.
Good job. Get a drink.
Working out is a form of meditation to me because I'm not focused on anything in my head. It can transport you to a totally different place. I'm on a journey to discover what it's like to be free of all demons.
Your first stripe on the
Demi, before you couldn't talk about weight. We literally couldn't use the term working out. And now she loves it.
I don't want to know what it's like to get really punched in the face by.
By Randy Couture? Man, it's like playing basketball with Michael Jordan.
all of my bags. And now my vanity. Feeling my extensions.
Hey, Demétria, can you come here and approve these TV spots?
Yup.
It was an exhausting night as an assistant. It was midsummer.
Which night was this, though? What are we describing here?
It was Anaheim. There were 4 suitors in the crowd, all in separate places throughout the crowd, which I strategically placed. Again, hard assistant work. They all wanted to visit her in the dressing room, all at different times, obviously. So we had to, coordinate, make sure some came before the show, some came after the show, so they didn't run into each other. Luckily, all went well.
I feel like it wasn't 4. I feel like it was only 2.
It was N and then L, but they had guests, and then there was another.
Was there O?
No, it wasn't that night.
My theory is you can't win if you don't play the game. I matched with somebody on Riot just now.
You did? Can I see?
I am on the dating app with both guys and girls. I am open to human connection. So whether that's through a male or a female, it doesn't matter to me.
She is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Liking somebody and then, them texting you and you waiting for their text back and them liking your picture on Instagram. All these, feelings and first dates. Oh, my God. I need looks for this weekend.
You do? Date night? How many? Is there a story? Is there a theme?
I'm going to a soccer game.
Jumpsuit, dress,
Jumpsuit.
cleavage?
Always.
Okay.
First dates are so nerve-wracking. I didn't have that before. I mean, not in so long. And the butterflies of that, the sweat on my hands, the sweaty palms, all that is fun. It's so much fun.
This is like a close the deal dress. Do you want to close the deal?
Hell yeah, I want to close the deal.
Because you're an escort right now.
I thought you said you're an escort.
No. What did you think? Should we put on a new deal?
No, we got it.
You know, okay. And I think don't tape it down because feeling that danger will make it sexier to date. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then
do I let the nipple show?
Let the nipple show.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really see-through.
It's the female bulge. It's letting the guy know who's boss.
I don't know if I can do that.
Do it.
When I'm comfortable in my own skin, I feel confident. And when I feel confident, I feel sexy. And when I feel sexy, watch out.
You don't know this, Demi.
Single Demi is fun.
She's a single girl. If she wants to go out to a club and dance, so be it.
We definitely talk about boys a lot. We're both single. Obviously, everyone wants to date her. She has a lot of suitors. It's fun to hear her when she shares her stories.
He's so hot.
Really?
Yes.
Have you talked to him since?
No, I was waiting for him to text me.
If it happens, I'm gonna be best. Did you make it up to his suite?
Yeah.
No, I did not. There's a certain stigma around a woman having casual sex. And for me, I just feel like it's my body and it's my choice and exciting and it's a connection with somebody and it's fun.
I guess there's not really any common theme with the people that I've dated. I do like athletes. There's something really sexy about somebody putting in all of their physical strength into their passion. I know. I was like, there's no common theme, but really it's totally athletes. So we'll do the ends of my hair, like more on the straighter side.
Straight, yeah. That's right. I don't go all the way.
Yay, he texted.
Yay. 4 hours and 2 minutes. What do you say?
Well, I can't check it. I've got foil on my nose.
The anticipation.
The anticipation is killing me.
Was it you who texted or he who texted?
It was me. Oh, sounds desperate.
It's good you have foil on your hands right now.
No, for sure. I'm still gonna wait. Yeah. I'm not gonna text right away.
You're so stupid. Why do you play these games?
Well,
You get so upset if people play games with you.
I know. It's a sticky situation. If you text right away and you make yourself seem available all the time, then he's not going to be interested anymore. Like, not as interested. It's a thing. Phil, you're married. You don't have to deal with this. You don't get it.
What are some of the turnoffs?
I don't like douchebags. And I've dated some in this single era. I don't like guys that play games. Like, life is too short for games. Oh! Hold on, one more time. I'm kind of a confrontational person, so if there's something up, I want to be like, I want to figure out, like, what's going on? What's happening here? First of all, he was supposed to come to my concert in Dallas, and he bailed.
Yeah.
And I was like pissed off about that. Maybe it was just like, I didn't text him. I was waiting for him to text me. We were playing games. Like, you know, I'm giving him, giving him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, okay, well, I have a free weekend. Like, I'm thinking of coming to Dallas. Like, do you have any free weekends available? He was like, yeah, I'm open that weekend too. I was like, dope, let's hang out. We decided to go into the club. He was like, yeah, come to my table. And I was like, okay, like, that's pretty cool because I have my own separate table. So I thought it was so good. He was like, yeah, like, have your friends come to the table. And I was like, okay, cool. Right when we got there, right as I was standing there, I was next to him. He did a line of Coke. The bottle service girl comes up. No. And he goes like this to her boobs.
Bro. Bye.
Are you And then he starts pouring vodka down other girls' throats. And I wanted to tell him straight to his face that I'm a f***ing catch and that he needed to treat me like a queen. I was half joking, but like half serious, like go f*** yourself. He asked why, and I said, well, these are the reasons why. These are the things that you did right in front of me, and I'm not going to be disrespected like that. And he ended up sending a bunch of text messages, apologizing, wanting to talk. He texted me, you good? And I texted back, no phone, who this?
Oh, I saw do you see that on Instagram?
That's my girl.
It's Kelsey, I'm pretty sure. She's
I think that's the one. Okay, I love it. Yeah, that one's really good.
Emo Night is a throwback event in LA once a month that brings together fans of the emo scene to relive the past. I try to go as often as I can. It's so much fun.
Emo Night Part 2, the sequel!
Looking back on my past, I see just how influential this music was on my life and my own musical journey early on.
Hey, let's give it up for John from 303! I want to introduce you guys to somebody very, 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 very special to me. Demi Lovato. Tell them what the Emo Night is about.
I went to like slide it down and then slide it back up so everyone would sing it, and then it stopped.
Is that what happened?
Yes, and I was like, oh shit.
I thought someone hit the power cord who were like in the audience or whatever.
We're gonna go with that.
Yeah. I don't know, we got a record on it.
We're gonna rock this.
I'm glad we just recorded that.
I know, me too.
Check that off the list. Yeah, I'm there, right?
So I can stay for another hour and a half. What do you want to do?
Let's definitely get that clean out of the way.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up.
Sometimes you would take like about a day or so to work on vocals.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy that, what was that, like an hour or so?
I know, right? You're so fast.
Oh, yeah.
I was being like so meticulous.
Oh, man, so fun.
Meticulous?
Meticulous?
Homeschooled.
She's very witty, which people might not notice because I feel like you can't fully show your personality when you have to do a press tour or something like that.
Look at me on the toilet. That's the cutest I've ever seen. Literally.
So she's pretty hilarious and she cracks ridiculous jokes. Want to see my jab?
Let's see the whale call.
She has a very interesting sense of humor. I'm always on my toes.
Yeah! Oh my gosh! See? She gets me every... Just trying to drive, but... Oh, wow.
That's a damn.
Damn! Damn! I just got it!
She's lovable.
I'm taking a nap.
You want to take a nap?
I'm taking a nap here.
Okay, take a nap right there then.
Good night.
We're super inappropriate.
Marissa said
She's always been witty and funny.
Sometimes I'm like, what did you just say?
Somebody commented at me and calling me like a cokehead, and I go, I prefer the term former crack whore.
Yeah, it's just little moments like that. She doesn't give a f. Like, she will say anything that's on her mind.
You are very annoying.
Because a lot of people hold back.
How does that?
How's that?
Well, you are.
You could be a bit of an ass.
I know.
How's that?
I'm used to it.
Can't do with that.
She definitely has a unique personality.
I know that you all love Nick Jonas. But I actually have a bigger he does.
Don't me. Cue the sunglasses and the jewelry.
So fill us in. Open up your mind. Like, where are your thoughts? Where's your head at?
My thoughts are, it's always been about heartbreak or struggles, and when they think of my music, they think it's heavy. And I just want to like break that mold. Sorry Not Sorry is lighter, and I think that's a part of me that nobody's seen before.
I just want you to feel supported to make the decision that you feel best about.
I feel like coming out with a song that's fun, that I'm passionate about, it just feels right to me. I follow my gut. My gut told me to choose Sorry Not Sorry as my first single, and I did. And I believed in it from day one, when other people thought that it shouldn't be the first single, but I knew that it should.
It is go time. I'm gonna perform Sorry Not Sorry live for the first time ever, and I'm so excited.
Tonight is a very big night for me. Because I released a song called...
What if we do another tour, because it was so much fun. How we did on the Cool for the Summer tour, we went to like pool parties. And we get massive houses in different cities.
Do the house party tour.
Do the house party tour.
Baby, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Baby, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
We woke up in Boston, and then we went to Alabama for like an hour and a half. Hey Birmingham, what up, girl? You're in Nashville, kind of like flying by the seat of our pants, but it's been amazing.
I said to them, gosh, she sounds like Aretha Franklin.
Oh my God, thank you.
Billy Ray Cyrus is here tonight, and you don't even know who's gonna be there tomorrow.
Gives me great pleasure to be sorry that I'm not sorry to introduce my great friend.
My friend, your friend, Miss Demi Lovato.
Please help me sing along.
What's dope is getting police escorted in my hometown.
Yeah. Should I go for the high note or play it safe?
I think you go for the win tonight.
The benefit that I have over some artists is my connection with my fans.
And I thought, what better way to get my fans involved and to have intimate performances than to throw the house party tour. Things like that can turn into awesome memories. And that's what it's all about. Like, I wouldn't have the career that I have today. I wouldn't be alive today without my fans. And I want them to be involved in any way they can because they just mean so much to me. When I look back at my life, I feel like if I didn't have music, I don't know what I would have. I have my friends and my family, but music gave me a purpose when I was bullied in school. It gave me the motivation to keep going and prove to everyone that didn't believe in me that I was gonna be something someday.
I look back and I look at someone who slept 18 hours a day, used drugs every day, and then you see someone today who's inspired to make better music, to talk about her own story, to help other people, and to make the world a better place. And that's a miracle.
She has lived through a lot of stuff, and she tries to put that stuff into her art because she's so authentic, and that's why people love her.
She doesn't come in and go, well, I need a hit. She comes in with a passion for, this is how I'm feeling right now, and this is how the people that I know listen to my music are feeling.
There's other great singers out there, but like, Demi's voice is Demi's voice, and Demi's attitude is Demi's attitude.
I know what music can get you through. I know what music can do emotionally for somebody because I've experienced it myself. And I wanted to create that for other people. There's nothing more beautiful than being able to connect with people through music, in my eyes.
Cold. You see me standing, but I'm dying on the floor. So cold. Baby, if I don't cry, I won't feel it anymore. Stone cold, baby. God knows I try to feel happy for you. Know that I am, even if I cannot today. I'll take the pain, give me the truth. I'm